and welcome to another teacher talk session tonight. And tonight we are going to have another educator from Turkey. And tonight we are going to have a team leader at Özyeğin University and CELTA tutor, Özlem Baykan. When she comes here, we are going to start our live session with her. And I'm sure that it's going to be a very fruitful session with Özlem Hoca. Let me invite her for the session, then we can start our conversation with her. Yes. Hello. Yes, there she is. Yes. Hello, Özlem Hocam.
Hello, Volkan Hocam. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's nice to see you. And I would like to say thank you very much for accepting my invitation for Teacher Talks. It's really nice to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's nice to be here as well with you. So I hope it will be a good one and an enjoyable one.
I'm sure that it's going to be a very fruitful session with you, Özlem Hocam. Okay, so if you are ready, we can start. I know we are all busy. Okay, so I know about you, but not much, of course, and our our followers also would like to know about you probably. So can you tell us about yourself, please, and a bit about your experiences too?
Sure. Well, this is Özlem. Everybody knows probably from my name. I have been working at Özyeğin University for about for 13 years now, I can say, and I work as a team leader. But before that, I started as an English language instructor and then took up my responsibilities as a team leader later. And before starting my work at Özyeğin University, I was a student at Bilkent University. So I graduated from Bilkent University, English Teacher Education department. And then once I finished my studies, academic studies, I started work and I have been here since then. And so this was more about the experience part, maybe. I can add, I am also a CELTA trainer. So I have been doing that for over 4 years now. And so
nice.
As well as my job, I also try to support English language teachers around the world by through my role as a CELTA trainer as well. So yeah, about myself, maybe more personal. Well, I live in Istanbul since I work at Özyeğin University.
Nice.
So I moved from Ankara to Istanbul. So I have been living in Istanbul for 13 years now.
Okay.
And I am a mom of a 4-year-old, and
very nice.
she's about to be 4, in fact, this summer. So in general, my life is between work and being a mom.
Okay, it's very nice, very nice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. Let's move to another question. So, Özlem Hocam, what was or were your turning point or points in your own education?
In my own education, I can say my turning point was joining the Bilkent family first, because as a student, because I was born in Niğde and I grew up in Niğde, which is a very small town, you may know. And then I moved to Ankara, so it was a very big city for me, and I started to live there. But I'm studying at Bilkent University was a turning point because that was the place that broadened my horizon, and that was the place that provided me with a clear vision and mission for my life and work life.
I see.
So I can say that was my turning point.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing with us, Özlem Hocam. And Özlem Hocam, and you have been teaching for a long time, I think, and you said more than 11 or 13. What did you say about it?
13.
Anyway, yeah, 13 years old, and probably you have tried lots of strategies and methodologies in your classes or in your teaching. So, and probably you have a kind of a philosophy of teaching. So, what is it? And what is your philosophy of teaching?
Well, in fact, it is basically, I can say, I mean, mainly, it is having a student-centered approach to
Mm-hmm.
teaching and learning environment. So I can say, I mean, when I say student-centered, it's not just letting students do the activities, but it is something, a kind of philosophy that involves everything, like helping, I mean, facilitating what students do in in the classroom, of course, for their learning, but also putting them in the center of their own learning. So trying to help them or trying to make them aware of their own responsibilities as a learner, take that responsibility and
Mm-hmm.
facilitate this and foster this somehow with helping them uh, trying to help them gain this necessary skills to take that responsibility, and then trying to guide them during their journey. So making them the center of their own learning, of
Own
their
learning.
own,
Mm-hmm.
academic life, and trying
I
to
see.
help them in that way.
I see. I understand. Thank you very much about the philosophy of you have there. And you said that you have been working at Özyeğin University for 11 years, I think.
13 years,
Oh,
yes.
okay. Sorry, 13 years. I'm so sorry about it. 13 years. And can you tell us what makes different Özyeğin University's language teaching than other universities?
Well, this question, I guess, has a lot of answers, not only one answer. So whatever I say here won't be probably enough to describe it. But I mean, I can say, for example, in general, um, it has a very student-centered approach. So I can say, at least my philosophy. Also, I can see my philosophy also at my institution. So the students are at the center. That's why we try to, I mean, as Özyeğin University, we try to uh, help them in their learning journey in that way as well. That's why it fosters a quality education.
Mm-hmm.
It gives importance to quality education. It tries to make a difference in students' lives, not only in terms of their language learning, but also it tries to, tries to provide them with the necessary life skills and academic
Uh-huh.
skills. That's why it has a very broad approach and also a very useful one for students, as well as the employees working there. So again, the same applies. Like it fosters learning and it gives importance to continuous improvement both for the students and the employees. So in that sense, we can say there's a constant cycle which ensures quality. So I guess that makes the difference.
I see. That's a really great description of your university's language teaching. What makes it different than other universities? Thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. By the way, there was a comment from Aydan Hocam. Volkan Hocam has an obsession with 11 years, I guess. Yeah, because I said
Yes.
many times 11, even you said it's 13 years, and I said 11, 11. I think so, Aydan Hocam, but no,
It
I'm
might be
never going to
because of
guess
the
11.
pandemic period, It's like, I mean, 13 years,
Yeah,
but 2 years with the pandemic. So yeah,
yeah,
it
maybe two
makes.
years you spent at home. That's why maybe I would like to say that it's 11. Anyways, thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. And let me ask you another question about it. So, the quality of the quality in our teaching is really important for us, and we need to understand how it works or how good is it. And when you think about this one, how do you ensure quality in your teaching?
Well, in fact, it's not like doing one thing, but I can say, well, the most important thing is a good planning. I mean, it starts
Mm-hmm.
with a good planning. So when you have a very good plan, And when you try to, as a teacher, I mean, I try to think about all of the possible, scenarios that I can come across in the classroom while teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So being ready for those positive or negative possibilities, both of them, requires good planning and good thinking before the class time. So that's what I do most. I mean, that's how I start, or what I start with. And then it continues in the classroom, like trying to incorporate, of course, it's not teaching the lesson plan, but trying to apply what you have planned, but also bearing in mind the students' needs, arising needs during the classroom,
I
because we're human
see.
beings, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not only a kind of mechanical teaching and learning environment. You have to be aware of what your students are, who they are, what they're doing, what they need during that class time. So being aware of that and trying to be, in fact, be ready to adapt both your teaching style,
I see.
what you
Mm-hmm.
teach, or how you teach it. That's why it continues in the classroom. That's what I try to do. And then afterwards, of course, I always see it like this. It doesn't finish in the classroom, but afterwards, to be sure that I try to ensure quality, not only in that classroom, but also in the upcoming lessons.
Upcoming lessons. Mm-hmm.
I try to do a very thorough reflection of what I have done, what I can
I
improve
see.
further.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that reflection and continuous improvement perspective, maybe, is what I always try to do after my lessons. So that's whole cycle, I can say, is how I try to ensure
Ensure
quality. I hope I can.
that occurs. Bravo, definitely you can hocam. And there's a comment from Aydan hocam.
Yes.
Can you read it? With all due respect, private universities have a tendency to give more importance to their financial worries. That's another comment about it. Would you like to say anything about it?
In fact, I couldn't really understand the comment. Is it on the student side, or is it about the employees? Maybe if we can ask Aydan hocam to clarify it a bit further, I can try to make a comment on it as well. Like, have a tendency
Okay.
to give more importance to their financial worries. I guess it means like trying to gain as a university.
Maybe.
If that's the case, yeah. Well, what we can say, I guess it depends on what kind of a philosophy that university takes, what kind of an approach to students and to university and to academic life that university has. Of course, it cannot be positive. Yes, this has nothing to do with us. Yeah, thank you, Adanajan. Yeah. I guess what I'm making a comment on is about the financial gains of the university as an institution. Yes, yeah. Well, I can say it totally depends on the university and its approach. So if it has it has a continuous improvement approach, if it has if it gives value to students learning, I guess that makes a difference in that sense. So we can't really say maybe all of the private universities do not have financial concerns. Of course, they might have.
They
but
definitely do.
Definitely, well, they have to, I guess. But how or what they do with that money and how they spend it is what makes a difference, maybe.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Özlem hocam. Okay, so let's move to another question. By the way, as we know that the latest developments and the trends of ELT is really, really quickly. Sometimes we cannot catch it, the technology and the things that happen in the ELT world about the latest trends. So, how do you stay updated with the latest developments and the trends in English language teaching? How do you do that?
Well, the first thing that I do, in fact, I read a lot because, as an individual in my personal life as well, I read a lot. And for my work life, I read a lot as well. So I try to follow the latest publications. For example, I try to read the latest articles about, especially research about, classroom, student learning, leadership, etc. So That's how that's the first thing generally, and the continuous thing I do. And of course, the conferences, for example, or the events, ELT events, provide us with really good insights because we try to keep up with the latest trends by listening to our colleagues, their experiences. So learning from each other, especially learning from our experiences, makes a good difference in that sense, and try to help us keep up with the trends. And other than that, I guess what I try to do generally is like being in a sharing culture. I really give importance to that because that sharing culture
Mm-hmm.
is really, helps create a very good environment of what everybody does. So you can see who else is doing what. Is it suitable for your own context, or you try to reflect on your own
Uh-huh. I
context, you
see.
try to
Mm-hmm.
incorporate what you learn. So that's generally how I try to do that. But basically, it's reading literature and events and conferences, attending them
Conferences.
and sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe these are the three things.
That you do it to stay updated. Okay, thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. By the way, Merve Hocam asked a question about which resources do you use, but I have a question about it. So let me ask you, then maybe you can also give the answer to that question.
Sure.
And when you think about the course book that you use so far, like what was, and let's say, what was your favorite course book that you worked on, and why, and what makes it different than other course books that you worked on?
Hmm. Well, Volkan, to be honest, I cannot really say this course book is my favorite one and that course book is not my favorite one. I can't really, I can't really choose one of them and say this
Mm-hmm.
is it. But what throughout my experience, what I observed, I have taught different course books. Of course, I have used them, but based on my experience, I can say it is. Of course, the course books provide really good content, and you use
Mm-hmm.
that content to help your students and to, help them learn the language, English language. But it's also your students' profile, your students' needs that you need to integrate into your lesson. So it's not
I
only
see.
taking this book and trying to teach whatever it gives, but it is also important to apply it or adapt it to your own context, adapt it according to your students' needs, and then that means exploitation of the course book itself. So sometimes, for example, I say, okay, this part is really nice, so I can use it. This is suitable for my students. This is suitable to cover our objectives in our language school.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I try to, adapt it somehow. But sometimes there are parts that, for example, that are not related to our syllabus objectives at all. So I
I
try to
see.
skip that part and then move on with the other relevant parts. So that's why I can say, it's not only this or that, but it is how you use them. So making maybe a combination of them sometimes also the strategy that I use, like using this part
Mm-hmm.
of the course book, then that part of another book. But of course, there are certain books that we follow to support our
I see.
syllabus, and those are the main things. But still exploiting it based on the students' needs and the syllabus needs, program needs. It's
Mm-hmm.
what makes the difference. So I can't really say that's why this is my favorite or this is not.
Okay, I understand. Thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. I think Aydan Hocam make it clarify about the question Merve Hocam asked. Which resources do you use?
Mhm.
I think she mentioned the.
Yeah,
Let me look.
like I
Merve
said,
Hocam referring to the resources that you read
yeah,
for your own improvement. I think she wanted
yeah,
to ask.
I guess.
Can you give any example, the resources you read for your professional development or to stay updated with the latest development?
Yeah, well, um, if, for example, if I'm curious curious about research on a certain issue, then I try to look at the peer-reviewed journals. Like, for example, there are many different databases we can use, like ERIC or EBSCOhost or other like Science Direct, etc. So those peer-reviewed journals provide really good and peer-reviewed articles, and those articles always include research that is relevant to the topic you're searching for or the research you're searching for. That's the first thing that I read about. And of course, there are different like ELT journals as well, like ELT professionals. For example, in my first years of teaching, I remember reading different practical classroom activities from ELT professional. It was, I guess, an ELT professional magazine. So those kind of journals or magazines also give quite really practical ideas for the classroom. So that's another one. And I mean, in terms of the resources, there are certain like websites, or maybe not websites, but you know, there are some non-profit organizations like Equals or TESOL or other INGET, for example. Somebody wrote INGET here as well. So those also provide a lot of good resources, and they also have journals, etc. So those can help a lot. So that's those are the most common ones I can use. I use generally.
I see. I understand. Thank you very much. To be clear, can you please write them? Maybe we can do like this after the session. Maybe Özlem Hocam can write me 3 or 5 websites or the resources that she uses, so I can share it on the page after the session. I can do that, so you can reach it from the page. Okay, let's move to another question. And I know that Özlem Hocam, you have done maybe lots of presentations or attended sessions. So when you think about your training sessions or presentations, what was or were the most interesting situation or situations that you faced? You still remember?
Yeah. Well, in fact, I haven't really come across a very interesting or I mean weird situation during the training sessions I gave, but the one that I remember most is the session that I delivered in my own at my own institution. It was on giving effective feedback, and generally in our institution, what we do is we deliver sessions, and the ones who are interested can come and join the session, and in fact, we try to, share our ideas and our practices so that everybody can learn from each other. So that was one of the sessions on effective feedback, and it was just before, I delivered the session, I guess it was on a Thursday, and then just after the session, the lockdown came up, and we heard in the news that we are not going to school the next day. And it was a session just before the pandemic, and it was really weird to have that sense at the beginning. Especially, we were shocked about the whole thing, and that's why I always remember that time. Okay, it was the last session that I gave before the pandemic, and it was the face-to-face one. And then for a long time, we always went for the online sessions. And after 2 or 2.5 years, when we went back to face-to-face education, we used that room for another session or meeting, as far as I remember. And then I saw one of the cardboards that I used on that day, on that training session, and I just remembered that day. Okay, it was not really, it was like the day before, but it was in fact 2.5 years ago or something, but it was still there. And I remembered that training session, and it was, so that was the most interesting one, I can say.
Probably it was really shocked for you after maybe have you thought that, oh my God, this is going to be my last session for all my life? Have you thought that?
In fact, I didn't, but I guess I didn't have that impression because, as the ELT community, we are really fast in terms of adapting to the new situation.
Yeah.
So probably you remember a lot of webinars and online
Yes,
training
of
sessions
course.
came up immediately. So watching them and seeing that, okay, we're going towards this direction didn't make me feel that bad. So
So we have a
that's why,
still chance. By the way, as an English ELT world, I think we adapt ourselves quickly to the situation.
really,
So
yeah.
we have a kind that ability, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move to related again with the presentations. If I'm wrong, please correct me about it. If I'm not wrong, you had a presentation about 4 E's of quality.
Mm-hmm.
So what are these 4 E's? Can you just give a short explanation about them? Not long, but just a little if you can. We will be happy
Yeah, sure.
about it.
Well, in fact, the 4 E's of quality are encourage, excel, evaluate, and ensure. And those are the four key components of ensuring quality as a philosophy of the whole training course, I can
I
say.
see. Mm-hmm.
But it's better if I do not give more information about it because i- if our colleagues would like to attend that training session later in the future, probably they will be the ones as a student-centered
I
approach
see.
to discover and
Okay.
think about and examine all those 4 E's. So maybe just
So,
knowing the title for the time being, but later,
okay.
hopefully, if everybody can join the training session, they will have more ideas about it.
Okay,
The
I got
ones
it.
who already joined the session, the training course, already know about it. So
I see. Okay. So this is enough, you mean. All right. Okay, if you want to know more, they need to join the session.
the
Okay.
course, yeah.
All right then.
Euros.
And
Aydın hocam, with this
yeah, euros, of
currency.
course. How much? How much? Yeah, euros, dollars. So how much do they pay to join the session?
Well, with this currency rate, I don't know if it will be in euros or not. Definitely we're in Turkey, so we know about the currency. So yeah.
So maybe you can just help them about they can convert the to euro to Turkish lira.
Maybe.
So
Yeah,
something
yeah, sure.
yeah, I can.
We are the ELT community. We do everything to help each other anyway, so.
So perfect. Okay. So let's move to another question then. So as we know that the when we think about the education, so we need leaders in education sometimes. We need to follow some leaders or we need them to see or to take them as a role model. So when you think about this, what is the role of leadership in education for you?
Um, well, this is like, for example, this is something that I can say I have become more aware of after taking up my role as a team leader. So in fact, when you're in the classroom, you're always in contact with the students. You spend most of the time with the students. So that also requires leadership skills.
Mm-hmm.
So as a teacher, we can say we need to somehow gain and also develop those leadership skills so that
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
we can foster our students' learning in the classroom better. And but after taking up my responsibility as a team leader, I always reflected on this, and I always try to, it requires somehow adaptation from being a teacher to being a kind of manager. So
Uh-huh.
that requires different skill sets, and it is also something important in terms of fostering a quality culture at the institution, trying to help this time not maybe both students and also the teachers at the institution. So that's why maybe what I can say, when you have, if an institution has effective leadership, then that helps to ensure quality, maintain it, and that helps to create a kind of supportive environment for everyone, for all students and teachers and managers. And also it is what, in fact, what makes sure that the goals, the institutional and the maybe individual goals, are being achieved at the end, because that's the role of effective leadership in general. I mean, we have certain goals, we have to achieve
Mm-hmm.
them, both individual goals and organizational goals. So in order to achieve them successfully, we need to make sure that we do our job in a quality way, and effective
I
leadership
see.
is what tries to support that process in general. So that's how I see it. I mean,
I
in
see.
summary, of course, it has a lot of details, but
I got it. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much, Özlem hocam. Let me ask you another different questions. So how long have you been working as a team leader?
it's since 2015, I guess,
Okay,
8 years.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, for
When
about
you think
8 years.
about that period, so have you faced any difficult uh, teacher in your in your that role?
Hmm.
There's a teacher that you pushed you a lot, something that you say, oh, now we need to do this, and he or she says, no, I don't want to do it, or maybe I do it later, or the things you say them and do it in the wrong way. Have you faced the kind of situations as a leader, and how did you react?
Well, that's a I don't know if my team members are watching this now.
Are you checking that? If anyone
No, no, no.
watching it or not? If they are watching it, I will say in a
Oh,
different way.
everybody is great. No, no. Seriously, though, everybody is great, I can say. Well, I have been working with my team for 8 years, but of course, it was not always the same team. I mean, I mean, in our team, we have had different team members. Some of them, for example, changed their roles, so they're not in our team, for
Mm-hmm.
example. Um, we always have newcomers, new colleagues joining us each academic year. Fudia is here, that's great.
Yeah, she said, I am the one.
I am the one. So that's why it's not always the same. So we have some kind of dynamic nature in it. And what I honestly speaking, though, it's not because Fudia is here, but honestly speaking, I can say everybody has their own contribution to our team, and
Uh-huh.
everybody, I mean, we're all human beings and we all have different characters. Sometimes we have similar characteristic features as well, but we are different human beings. So that means all of us are different individuals in the team. But that's, I mean, when that difference makes a kind of harmony, then that makes the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I have experienced since I started my, role as a team leader, I can say. Of course, there have been difficult times. I can't really say difficult teachers. It wouldn't be maybe a very, I mean, maybe a good, label. But of course, we have had difficult times. Like, for example, the recent one we have experienced is, I mean, the pandemic, then afterwards the earthquake, etc. So these all bring different, psychological
I see,
situations or other
definitely.
difficulties, challenges for us, and then somehow we try to deal with it and we try to support each other. So back to your question about how I deal with it. With the challenges, I mean, of course, we experience a lot of different challenges every day in our everyday life. It's not always the, for example, the teacher. Sometimes we also have experienced conflicts with the students as well. And how I deal with it? Well, when everybody has good communication and when we try to focus on the problem and try to support each other in that problem solving
I
process,
see.
then we achieve what we want to achieve in general. And that's what I experienced all the time with my team. And that's how I try to deal with it as well. Like trying to help everyone focus on the situation, focus on the
I
facts,
see.
and
Mm-hmm.
then give the
Right.
necessary support. Very diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
That's the nature of being a team leader.
It's a great one. Thank you very much, Özlem hocam, to give your answer about it. Thank you very much. Okay, so Özlem Hocam, as you know that, the 21st century skills, let's move to another question, is really important for us and for in the classroom also especially. So, and we always try to teach our students in and outside the classroom this skills. So when you think about them, why do we have to teach that skills to our students and how successful we are about it?
When we say how successful we're about it, you mean the whole ELT community? Welcome, hocam. So that
No,
would
no, no. I
be.
mean, like when you think about your students,
Hmm.
for example,
Okay, all
like
right.
the critical thinking, communication, and other the 21st century skills.
Yeah.
Can mhm,
Well, in fact, I see the 21st century skills very important, and I guess that makes our job even more difficult because we do not only teach the language itself, we do not only, for example,
well,
teach grammar,
exactly,
present simple tense. I mean, the word would be very easy if that was our only job, but
definitely.
it's not the only one because I mean, we live in a world that's constantly changing. And there are a lot of different situations that we find ourselves in. And for example, the recent one, the most now, famous topic, the artificial intelligence, for example, it's such developments or such changes in our lives necessitate some kind of different life skills and different critical uh,
Hmm.
skills, thinking skills, different literacies, I can say, like critical literacy, digital literacy. So that's why it's really important. I find it important to try to help students develop those skills as well
I
in the
see.
classroom. And it's difficult to, in fact, combine language learning with fostering those skills. But sometimes I find also I find it enjoyable because with the language and with integrating by integrating with the language with a meaningful, for example, task or with a meaningful purpose, then that also helps to develop those skills as well. So then our students become
Mm-hmm.
more ready for the outside world and for their,
Outside world.
constantly changing world. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I see it important. And how successful are we? I don't really know. I guess this requires a kind of research. Probably there have been a lot of research about it, but I mean, as long as we make a difference, even a small one, then I guess it is something for our students and for us
Mm-hmm.
as teachers. So
I
that's why
see.
small or big doesn't matter, but even one skill or one kind of perspective or maybe a
Mm-hmm.
different mindset really would make a difference. So that's why I guess I find it important and I will try to foster it
I
and
see.
integrate it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. Okay, so let's move to okay. So far, so good. How
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Are you
yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I am
wonderful.
okay. Thank you.
Great.
Mhm.
Maybe we should start calling them deeper learning skills rather than the 21st century skills. Okay, I don't know, Jam. I will do that. Okay then. Deeper learning skills. All right then. So, Özlem Hocam, when you think about it, like again the technology. Let's move to the technology one more time. How do you incorporate technology into your English language teaching lessons?
Well, um, generally, what I try to do is I try to incorporate it in a way um, that helps students use it as a tool, but focus on
Mm-hmm.
their language learning. Like, for example, uh, we have different, I mean, to give a very specific example, we have many different tools for playing games, for example. Kahoot is the most,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
famous
I
one.
love it.
Or there are many, of course, many different websites or different tools as well. But what I try to do, for example, I try to integrate that feeling of joy for students by using that tool, for example, maybe a gaming tool or something else. But what I also try to do is it's not just, okay, answering that question and getting the point, but I try to always support it through some kind of follow-up tasks, questions, so that it can make a difference in their learning. Like, for example, if it's a vocabulary game, so there's a question there in the Kahoot game, for example, and they answer the question, they look at their score, so they become happy or sad depending on their score. And then once they leave their, excitement and they go through that process, I try to help them focus on the learning part more. And for example, ask them follow-up questions to focus on different parts of speech for vocabulary, or different, for example, aspects of vocabulary, let's say in general. So, or I try to ask them, for example, come up with more sentences or examples by using that word, etc., etc. So it's not just using the technology, but it is really integrating it into the lesson in a meaningful way, so that students benefit from it and enjoy the learning process. So that's how I integrate it. But with the artificial intelligence, I guess this is a bit changing. So
Definitely.
Probably we have more to discover how to integrate it more.
AI into our lessons, I see. Okay, so just a couple questions left, Özlem Hocam. By the time flies, really. So let's move to the new teachers, the new English teachers. Every year, lots of English teachers join our world. They graduate from university, and as an experienced teacher, what would be your suggestions to prospective or new English language teachers? What would you like to say them?
We talked about this today with one of my colleagues in my team. The new graduates, the new teachers, English language teachers, etc. The new generation, for example. So we have had a lot of comments about them. And what I can say, for example, continuous development and improvement is really important to be a good teacher. So that's why that continuous cycle of reflection, improvement, the things that we have talked about, like following the trends, learning from each other, etc. These are all related to the professional development and how you improve yourself as a teacher. So my suggestion would be to really give importance to continuous development, and teaching is a kind of job, or a passion, we can say, maybe, and it's not really easy. So since it's a passion, it's like you need to really want to do it. You need to really be dedicated, and you need to be really committed to your students' learning, your teaching life as a teacher, etc. So that's why they need to be ready to commit their time, energy, and themselves in general, most of their life, in fact, to their job as a teacher. So that's why that readiness, I can say, is very important. So readiness and professional development are the two main suggestions I can give.
That you can give. Okay, Aydan Hocam makes an excellent comments one more time. If you see it as a job, don't become a teacher. Exactly. That's really true. It's a profession, and that requires passionate and devoted people. Definitely, and I agree with her. Definitely. Thank you very much, Aydan Hocam.
Exactly. If you see it as a job, it's like ticking the box and then going home, but it's not the case. Then that doesn't make a difference in students' lives. Definitely, I agree with that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Özlem Hocam. So let's move to another question. Okay, now my question is not related to education. It's more different kind of questions. Let's move to it. How do you see yourself in 10 years? Will you still be a teacher or try another job or jobs?
Well, I think, probably I will still continue to be a teacher, but it's not like, for example, probably it won't be the only thing that I will do. For example, I always try to adapt myself to the changing situations as well, as a person, and also as a teacher, and as an English language teacher and team leader, etc. So and also as a trainer. So with my different hats, I always try to be a better version of myself, I can say. So that's why it won't be the only thing that I will do, I'm sure, because I don't really like sticking to one thing and then, going on with it. But I always try to add things to my own, add value to my own life and also to other people's lives. So that's why I'm sure it won't be the only one, but I'm sure it will continue as the core thing. But I will probably add more things
More
to
things to it. I see. Thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. Thank you. Özlem Hocam, and as a human being, sometimes we would like to have some superpowers when you think about it. I wish I had that power. So when you think about it, your classrooms, if you could have one superpower to use in the classroom, what would it be and how would it help you in your classes?
Uh, in fact, this is something that I really want in my own life as well, and
Wonderful.
also in my, profession in the classroom. Yesterday, I will always make this joke with my daughter. I wish we had different Özlems at home so that one can play with you, one can cook, and one can clean the house, one can do the other things, one can work. So that's why I really want to clone myself. Maybe I would like to have at least 3 Özlems at home. And also in the classroom, because, for example, teaching is like having different gadgets and then trying to use all of them at the same time in the classroom within that, teaching hour. So that's why I would like to have different Özlems, one to monitor students, one to teach, one to help them do the job, one
Wow.
to give feedback. So that would be really nice, I guess.
Okay, I understand. It's a really nice superpower to have in the classroom, really. Thank you very much, Özlem Hocam. Okay, another interesting question. Think about that. We finish the interview and you step outside your home and find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $10 million. What would you do? Yeah, everybody wants that $1 million.
Well, probably first I would feel really happy, and I would really probably wait for some time to think about what I really need to do with that. I wouldn't really want to give a very quick decision about it. If it was it was a quick decision, probably it wouldn't really end in a good way, like spending everything for nothing. So what I tried to do, I would wait for some time and then I would decide. Probably the first thing I would do is to guarantee my daughter's life, especially
I see.
educational life, because it's really too expensive. So, and it's a long time. So that would be the thing, like guaranteeing our lives first, and supporting my loved ones, like my parents, brother, my friends, etc. So like supporting is not like helping people with money, but doing anything that they would like to do as well.
I see.
So probably I would try to do that, and then I would spend it to travel and see different places that I would like to see. Like I have a long list, so I would probably start with the first one, which is the Northern Lights in Norway. So
The Norway.
so
Norway, I see. I see. Very good. Thank you very much, and very interesting the things that you have done. It. Thank you. Wonderful. Aydan Hocam made another comment. It's a pity to see how many roles women have to carry. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and living in Istanbul, you can barely cover your rent and your daily expenses. Probably Aydan Hocam. Yeah,
Yes, definitely, Özlem.
with that money, well, she can. Okay,
Yeah,
so
especially this time is a really critical time for us, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, you're really right.
I see. Okay, so I think here is the last question, Özlem Hocam. I'm gonna ask you the last question, and which is the most difficult one. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay, what is your motto?
Oh. Well, I really need to think about it, I guess. I mean, I do not really have a very ready-made motto that I have been using for a long time, to be honest. But I mean, probably sometimes it depends on the situation and the time as well. But
Uh-huh.
maybe as the core thing, I would say, I mean, touch people's lives and make a difference.
Mm, Nice. Very good one. Thank you. Thank you very much, Özlem Hocam.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
All right.
Welcome, hocam.
So that's all my questions, Özlem Hocam, and all my
Thank
questions
you.
finished. And before ending our live session, would you like to add anything else?
Well, first, I would like to thank you, really, welcome, hocam, I mean, for inviting me, of course, and also for the work you do, because it's a really nice one, and you try to invite different people, and it's a kind of, ELT community. So having this chance to listen to different people, teachers, and having this opportunity in a very easy way like this, like in a very accessible way, it's really nice. So thank you very much for inviting me and also for your efforts in doing so.
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed it in that sense, I can say. So
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really great to hear it from you, Özlem Hocam. Aydan Hocam says, you're obviously a great teacher and a leader. Keep up the good work.
Thank
She
you very
says to
much.
you, Özlem
Thank
Hocam.
you. Thank you very much, Aydan hocam.
All
Thank
right,
you.
wonderful. And I would like to say
Ah,
one more time,
I'm
say
really
that.
sorry, Volkan hocam. One of my colleagues in my team, Jan, says, "Just get it done." That's also a great motto, because this is "Just get it done" is our team motto. So
Ah,
maybe
I
that's what
see.
you, yeah, that's why I wanted to just highlight this stuff.
Okay, so just get it done. Okay, so that's also a nice motto that you have in your team. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Aydan Hocam, by the way. We love you too also, as all teachers. All right, so Özlem Hocam, I would like to say one more time, thank you very much for being with us tonight. It was really great pleasure to have you here. And also thank you very much you for your suggestions, advice, and especially, which is the most important one, your time. You spend it with us here. Thank you very much. And Özlem Baykan was with us tonight here with Teacher Talks and 119. So we had a fruitful session. And Nilgün Hocam says it's always a pleasure to listen to Özlem Hocam's ideas and
Thank you
opinions. Yes,
very much, Nilgün hocam.
it's
It's a
great,
pleasure to work with you. Thank you very
wonderful.
much, Volkan hocam. It was a pleasure for me too.
Yeah, it was also a great pleasure for us. And we are going to be here next week at the same time, on the same day as you know it, on Monday at 9 p.m. And until the next time, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, Özlem Hocam. And
Take care.
until next that time, that's all for now. And wherever you are and whatever you do, and good luck, everybody. And see you next time. And bye bye, Özlem Hocam. And bye bye, everybody. And peace.
Take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.